Welcome in to 3 in the Key here on SFBN. I'm Ari Bluestein, the CEO of the Sports Fan Base Network, filling in for Richie Bleiweiss. Tonight we've got a lot of great basketball to talk about. We are just about hitting February, so all these teams are hitting their strides. A lot of districts to get to. All that next here on 3 in the Key.
Mike's unmuted 2, 1.
Welcome back in here to 3 in the Key. I'm Ari Bluestein, the CEO of SFBN. Thank you again for joining us here on Monday night. I'm joined by Kapp and Josh Abrams, our usual analysts, and it's an honor for me to be here. I've been watching the show with Richie hosting, and you guys have done a great job, so I'm excited to be here. You guys ready to talk some hoops?
Hey, like you said, it's the best part of the season. I mean, we're just getting into February here in a day or two, and it's boys basketball season.
Yeah, it really is. And, you really start to see these teams hit their stride. I've been, of course, watching the show and, of course, keeping up on high school basketball and watching what's going on. And, we'll start at the top in District 1 in the southeastern part of the state. And we have a lot of SOL to talk about, but we're going to start with the Chestmont League. Now, Coatesville has really had a phenomenal year so far. They got the win over Bishop Shanahan, who's a very good 5A team. And, I'll go to you, Kapp, on this one. Coatesville, they're a great program. They've had the young brothers. I feel like there's like 10 young brothers who play football and basketball, and they are so talented. Probably the best team in the Chestmont League.
Yeah, most likely, and they've been producing great teams for decades. This was a kind of a revenge game, but they won big, 73-44. And David Angelo was hitting threes. He had 14 for Bishop Shanahan. They were missing somebody. Kevin Dodds was out with the flu. And having had the flu myself this season, it knocks you down.
It is flu season, too, in addition to basketball season.
It's flu season, yeah. But anyway, Coatesville got in their rhythm, and they made a lot of easy baskets. They were able to pull out this revenge game. And it was a nice victory for them. They're 12-6 and 6-2 in conference. So the Red Raiders are kind of on their way again.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're definitely the best team, in the Chestmont League. And Bishop Shanahan's a good team, too. And they're in 5A, Coatesville in 6A, so both teams have a chance in their respective classifications.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with the Chestmont, but there's so much going on in the Suburban 1 League. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Josh.
before we move on, I think it would be best to talk about the trivia question for this week, right?
Oh, yeah.
Trivia question?
Oh, yeah, let's throw in the trivia question.
Set it up, yeah.
All right, let's set it up. Why not? Yeah. Okay, so this week's trivia question, which I got this right here somewhere in my notes, and maybe I'll let Kapp I have it right here. Here we go. Ready? Which coach in Philadelphia high school basketball history has the highest career winning percentage? Not career wins, winning percentage. So that is our trivia question here on 3 in the Key, and you've got to stick around till the end. That's when we're going to give you the answer. So again, which Philadelphia high school coach in basketball has the highest career winning percentage? I love your trivia questions.
He was a great coach. I remember him well, and he retired early.
Okay.
But he had a long career anyway.
Okay, we're going to cut off the hints right there. Okay?
We'll leave it there.
Start your Google search now, okay? All right, so let's get back into this. Thank you, Josh Abrams, for reminding me about the trivia question. I'm so excited to talk about Suburban 1 that I forgot about it, because Suburban 1 has so many good teams. We're going to start with Plymouth Whitemarsh. They're definitely the best team, I think, in Suburban 1, and they might even be the best team in 6A in the entire state. They had a dominating 70-50 win over a decent Wissahickon team, and Naeem McLeod is literally head and shoulders above everybody else.
And getting better every game.
Yeah, and he's only a junior now, so he has so much time to improve. And that win against Wissahickon the other day, Wissahickon has 2 6'4" players on their team that can even come remotely close to matching Naeem McLeod's size. They got into foul trouble early, and there were points in times where Wissahickon was playing with 5 guards in there. And no matter what your game plan is, when you have 5 guards in the game and a 7'2" center as part of your opposition, you're not going to get much done on the offensive end.
No, you're not. And that's really just a matchup problem in high school basketball. You don't really see many 7-footers. I mean, we've seen Mo Bamba at Westtown, who's a dominating player. Even in the Catholic League, Demir Cosby Roundtree only 6'9", but when you have when you have a 7'2" player And a lot of times these high school teams, their centers, tallest guy in the school is maybe 6'5". That really creates a mismatch.
And he keeps getting better, like we said. I stood next to him the other day. It was a tournament game, and they had the next game about a week ago, I guess. And I just stood next to him, and I kept looking up and up and up. And I mean, 7'2" is 7'2", and he is, I believe, that's not a joke. I believe he's actually 7'2".
He is legit. I mean, he really is.
And he scored 30. I believe he had 30 against
the
Chamonix.
Yeah.
And he had 33 against somebody else. So, I mean, earlier in the season, I went to see him play, and he looked a little unsure of himself. Not fully developed, not fully evolved as an offensive player. But now, if you're scoring 30 and 33, that's saying something.
Yeah, and I think last year when you looked at him when he was, I guess, a sophomore, he's a junior now, you started to hear about him.
Yeah.
And what you heard was that he was raw. And I think this year he's really starting to develop his skills and really get the interest of the college coaches as well.
Plymouth Whitemarsh had been so notorious in the past couple of years for their guard play.
Yeah.
A lot of players like Xavier Malone, Jimmy Murray,
Very good player. Yeah.
Amongst other guards. Now it's time for McLeod to come under the spotlight, and now that he's starting to emerge, get older as time goes by, him and the Williams twins and Ish Horn, those four right there are essentially the heart and soul of the team in terms of scoring.
That's a great heart and soul.
Yes,
absolutely.
I mean, Ish Horn, he can put in 20. He's a complete player. It's not just the scoring, and the Williams brothers are extremely athletic.
Yeah,
and play good defense.
Yeah, I mean they're 17-0. I mean PW is 17-0 for a reason. I mean they are 17-0, and they beat Cheltenham also, who's a pretty good team. So it'll be very interesting to see how PW can handle maybe tougher competition as we start getting into District 1 playoffs and also obviously the PIAA playoffs. Now we go from a big guy to a little guy with Chris Archidiacono. We have to talk about him. Probably one of the best scorers in the area, right?
Yeah.
But he's on a team that is struggling right now in the Chamonix. Lost to Ben Salem 69-53, lost to Ben Salem 59-57, and then lost to the aforementioned PW.
Pensbury,
sorry.
Yeah,
Pensbury
right.
59-57,
That's
and
right.
PW 88-54. So Chris Archidiacono's putting up points, Josh, but his team is just not helping him out.
No, and essentially what you would think about with such a star player like him is that you would try and shut him down and make his teammates do the work. What they're actually doing is they're letting Chris Archidiacono score his points. He's a 20-plus point scorer, and he's going to get that every night. But when you shut down his teammates and limit them to less than double-digit scoring, it actually becomes easier to defeat a team like that. And that essentially is the reason why Neshaminy continues to lose these games.
I have not seen him play. I have not seen Archidiacono play.
Well, I mean,
you have.
Yes, I've only seen him once.
How good is he? I mean, he's 6'4", right?
He didn't look that tall, but I would give him a good 6'1", 6'2".
Generous. He's a basketball listing of 6'4".
Okay,
yeah,
probably 6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
all right.
But I mean, he reminds me so much of his brother.
I would guess,
and he can do everything his brother can. He wasn't able to hit a game-winning three against Pensbury the other night. It was a really tough game, and it was actually Neshaminy's game to lose because they were leading throughout the first half. They got out to a 20-12 start, and that first quarter was when Neshaminy started to look like a complete team. They were up 20-12. They hit a couple threes, a couple from Archidiacono and from Anthony Papio, so he got his support. But Pensbury started to chip more, slowly chip into that lead, and by the time they reached the beginning of the fourth quarter, Pensbury was up by a 10-point lead, and I loved what Pensbury's coach Bill Coleman said to me after the game. He said, going into the fourth quarter, like they knew they weren't going to win that game by a lot. They were up by 10, but it being a rivalry game, you had to figure the losing team would cut into the lead, and essentially they did. Mm-hmm. Coleman said to his players, "We're leading going into the fourth quarter. I believe they were up by 4 or 5." He said, if we win the first two quarters, he broke it up into 4 2-minute sequences.
The first quarter of the quarter.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
He said, if we win these first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, we're going to win the game. They won the first 2 minutes by about 8 or 9, and then Neshaminy started to come back and ended up only losing by 2. But, I mean, Coleman's doing a really good job at Pensbury right now because they started off 1-4, 1-5, and now all of a sudden they could be hosting
So is Archidiacono, I mean, is he a selfish player or is he
I think
a team player?
I think he's more of a team player. It's just that I think he knows now as a senior when his time is coming for him to take the spotlight and put the team on his shoulders. it's just kind of a shame that no one else can really do that because it's too much to ask for one player that good and I hate to say small because I'm nowhere near as tall as him, but it's just too much to ask from a player like that.
Yeah, and I think he just is struggling, and then the team has lost now 6 in a row, not to mention the 3 that they lost this week. Lost 6 in a row. Archidiakonos put up numbers. He put up 36 in the loss against Ben Salem, almost beat Pennsbury.
80% of the points, 75% of the points.
Yeah, I mean, he's just scoring a large percentage of the points. But, you talk about what Neshamony's done. You mentioned about Pennsbury, Josh. They beat Neshamony, and then they also lost to Abington. Now, they played them tough. But this Abington team is very good. That was a 51-45 final. Eric Dixon, the stud power forward, has 27 points. And Abington really kind of did an unusual thing. They took a break out of their league schedule to go to Florida and play in an invitational tournament against some of the best teams in the country. And, I give Charles Grasty, the coach for Abington, really a lot of credit for that.
As long as nobody gets injured, as long as they don't tire them out or anything like that. Because that is a big trip right in the middle of everything else.
Yeah.
But look, they played three top-level type teams.
Yep, Finlay Prep, who has Bol, 7'3", Manu Bowles' son. Right. And then they played 2 very good teams from Florida. Westminster lost 82-80 on a game-winning layup by Westminster, and then beat the Villages out of Florida 81-72. So they go 1-2, which is good. And they weren't really in that Finlay Prep game, but they were in that Westminster game. But I mean, Abington. We talk about PW, but Abington looks pretty good,
and then
too.
you talk about height. We were talking about height earlier.
Yeah.
Bol, which is his real name, by the way, folks.
Yes.
It's his real name, named after his grandfather. Bol is 7'3" and is way better than his dad.
Well, he's much more mobile. He's much more mobile.
Yeah, he's got a whole different game. He's got an offensive game.
Yeah.
The tallest guy on Abington is Dixon, 6'7". So we're talking about height difference, right?
It looks like we have a Facebook commenter.
Yeah, we have a Facebook comment.
Is it Bol comment?
No, it's not a Bol comment. Okay, this comes in from Bill here. What's your mid-season? Who's your mid-season all-Catholic? I'm assuming all-Catholic team there, right?
Should we wait to
we're going to get to District 12. We can answer it briefly. We'll answer it briefly here real quick, actually. Why don't you give me? You've really been following the Catholic League.
The surprising guard that nobody really knew about before the season is Isaiah Wong.
Bonner Prendy.
And he plays for Bonner Prendy.
Yeah,
so,
you got to mention Jiri Johnson, too.
Jiri Johnson's had a real nice season.
Yep.
And is it Tariq Ingraham on that team also?
Ingram on Bonner?
Yes.
Ingram.
Yeah. Ingram. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's the 3 top players from that team, and they're the top team right now.
You go with Newman Goretti, which we're going to get into them a little bit later, but, Christian Ings. Very solid player.
And Marcus Little's their big man.
Marcus Little's the big man.
Yeah, I have a few things to say about him later on.
Yeah.
Going back to, I guess we were just talking about Abington, right?
Yeah,
and
we will get more Catholic League later. Stay tuned.
It's on last top.
I think the reason why Abington was able to hang in there, it's like, obviously, Eric Dixon, Robbie Heath, and Lucas Monroe are their top 3 players. Obviously.
3-headed monster.
Yeah,
right there.
And we talked about earlier in the season how Charles Grasty needed to do a better job of finding his bench and finding those key players to come off the bench. And I think he's doing a good job with that. Brandon Kaufman, another veteran coming off the bench, hitting some big threes for them. But I think the biggest thing about these kinds of games is that these teams, for as good as they are, they like to get up and down and run. So that basically means that I'm not saying it's the lack of defense or playing no defense, but there's a lot of opportunities for Abington to score. And as long as they're not fatigued and they're being able to keep up with teams like that, with the talent they have with that 3-headed monster, they can keep it. They can hang in there.
It says a lot for the stamina element, the endurance element of that team, which means that the coaching staff has been working them.
Yeah.
Working them for endurance. That's something you do at practice.
And that's really something that you do before the season,
totally
too, to get them ready.
But the guy who surprises you the most is Eric Dixon, who's really athletic.
Yeah.
A man his size.
Yeah.
A young man his size. But you look at him and you would never think that he could make those moves and get the places on the court that he wants to get to as quickly as he does.
And, we saw him as a freshman at the Play-by-Play Classics at Arcadia. We covered that game on SFBN. And we were just so amazed by him. But he's even gotten better since
way
then.
Better. Way better.
For sure.
In fact, better than I thought he was going to get.
Yeah.
I did.
He is a legit, solid major Division I prospect. All right, so we talked a lot about Suburban 1, Abington, PW, Pennsbury, all having good seasons, looking good so far.
Right.
Wanted to get to the Del Val League a little bit because that kind of goes, by the wayside. But Chester quietly 11 wins in a row after starting 0-5. And Cap, I know the Chester Clippers are a team that you follow a lot. This is a team with a lot of history. We're talking Jameer Nelson, right? A lot of great players coming out of Chester.
And it's the winningest program really in PIAA history.
Right, in terms of championships.
Especially of the big schools.
Yes.
Chester's right now a 5A level.
Yes.
They were a 4A level for a number of years. They have, and it was one of our trivia questions, but they have 8 state championships.
Yeah.
They really all came in a cluster a couple of years ago when they were top 25 team in the nation, always finishing.
Right.
Yeah.
Always finishing.
It's over 34 years, so it's 8 over 34 years, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing. And they also, I believe, have the most appearances in state championship games, the most appearances in state playoff games, and so on.
But they've kind of struggled over the last couple of years, and they have a coaching change.
They have
but now
Keith Taylor is the coach.
So now 11 in a row.
Keith Taylor.
So 11 in a row. They look pretty good.
Yeah.
And at 5A. Well, 5A's, for the most part in District 1 is fairly wide open. We're not going to talk about the Catholic League teams that are 5A, but District 1 at least, they look pretty good. They're in there.
Beware of Chester always. Now, when they started out 0-5, I saw on Facebook, some people follow them very closely, and Dave Berman, I know you know who that is.
Yes, Dave Berman.
Dave Berman's a big proponent of Chester basketball, and he kept saying, watch out, they're coming. They won 11 straight.
There you go. Dave Berman, who is the voice of Chester and Delaware County.
Dave Berman is
give a shout out to Dave if he's watching.
An amazing historian, by the way, of boys basketball. I get a lot of information from him, but now they have won 11 in a row, and they're rolling.
Yes.
They're steamrolling.
Yeah, and they are, and this is the right time of year to get hot because you're starting to talk about playoffs now at this point. So we'll see. I think they're definitely the best in the. Watch out for Chester in the Del Val League. That's for sure. Well, District 1, so many teams to cover, but we just could cover a few. Some of the best ones. We're going to take a time out here on 3 in the Key, and when we come back, we're going to go west a little bit, starting with District 3. That's next here on 3 in the Key.
We're talking goaltending here, and we're talking about high school rules as opposed to NCAA or NBA, which are slightly different. The referee is looking for 4 criteria. Number 1, is the ball on its way down? Number 2, is the ball fully above the rim? Number 3, was it an attempted shot? And number 4, did that shot have a chance to go in the opinion of the referee? If all 4 of those criteria are met, a goaltending call is made and the basket is good. Slapping the backboard is never goaltending. It's always a technical foul.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have spent 3 days with the most insane program, okay, I have witnessed in my 17-year career. It excites me, the presence of point blank period, of Coach Dooley, of Coach Fowler, of the people that he works out with, that he trains with, okay? It's exciting. And you have had the luxury of spending 3 awesome days with these people. I watched Coach Fowler play. Mr. Coach, you watch Coach Fowler play? He is one of the most annoying basketball players you will ever see in your life. Okay? Because exactly what he trains, exactly what he preaches to you, he does at all times. This is real habit. This is not a gimmick. This is real basketball. Real basketball. Something that he has found success with. He has spread the word.
Welcome back in here, 3 in the Key. I'm Ari Bluestein, the CEO of SFBN, sitting in for Richie Bleiweiss tonight, joined by my analysts, Kapp and Josh Abrams, and great District 1 talk. And got to get into some of the other districts, and I wanted to start with District 3. And ironically, we're going to start with District 3, but a team that's not in District 3, in State College, District 6, but they play in the Mid-Penn Conference in District 3, the only District 6 team that is in this conference that is, again, all District 3 teams. But State College, one of the best teams in the state, according to the City of Basketball Love, they are right now the number 7 team in the state at the 6A level, and that's saying a lot because you're talking about great 6A teams. And, you know, right now they're looking pretty good. I know they just had their first loss against Reading in the Play-by-Play Classics, but in terms of league games, undefeated.
Yeah, it was their 4th game of the week. So that's really, it's tough, and you're playing the defending state champions. Even though they do
they're still good though. Reading,
they're still very, very good, and they did lose that game. Do we have a score on that?
That was 75-66 to Reading.
75-66.
Yep.
So their first loss, prior to that in the week, they beat Cumberland Valley.
Yep.
They beat Chambersburg, and they beat Harrisburg, which was a preseason favorite.
Yeah.
But when they lost Micah Parsons, they kind of went down a little bit.
And when you're talking about those teams that they beat, it's not just 4 games. Harrisburg
good teams.
And Cumberland Valley, especially Chambersburg's not bad, but Harrisburg and Cumberland Valley are good teams. And then you have to go and play Reading on Saturday in the Play-by-Play Classic.
The Seaburg game was a 5-point game, by the way, the Chambersburg game. So that one was close too. So they were all competitive games. I mean, State College was undefeated prior to the Reading game.
Yeah, and Josh, when you look at the Little Lions of State College, I mean, there's a lot of great teams in 6A. We just talked about PW and Abington, who are both 6A. I think potentially they can compete with these teams, but we won't find out really until state playoffs.
Yeah,
talk about State College a little bit.
It's a little hard to tell, especially when you have the top teams in the classification. The classifications are so general because it covers the whole state.
Right.
And we haven't seen State College play anyone by the likes of Plymouth White Marsh or Abington or any of the PCL teams in the 6A. So, I mean, State College, obviously they have to be good if they keep on winning games, obviously. It's just a matter of how they're going to hang in there with the big guys from the eastern side.
Yeah, we said they're from District 6, and the reason they come into District 3 is because evidently they don't feel the competition level is good enough in District 6.
Yeah.
We're probably in agreement with that.
I mean, District 3 is definitely stronger in most sports, especially in basketball. Mid-Penn is a very good conference, right? Yeah. And we're going to get to some other Mid-Penn teams in a moment, but Reading in its own right, touch on them real quick. They lose Lonnie Walker, who's one of the best players this state has ever seen. Now killing it in Miami, but they're still up there. They're up there in the COBL rankings as well. So you see that State College Reading matchup. You're looking at 2 teams that could be there, maybe play each other in the 6A state tournament.
Yeah, and that Reading team from last year, I just want to say that's one of the best teams I've ever seen.
Yes.
Besides just having Lonnie Walker, one of the best players we've ever seen.
Yeah, no, they were a great team. And they're good again this year, too.
Yeah, Reading's getting good production from, it looks like, Xavier Starks and R.J. Dixon, 20 and 17 points respectively. Right. A back-and-forth game against State College, and after they went into intermission leading by 4, and then they pulled away later on in the game towards the end. And that's just a lot. That just shows resiliency from State College.
Yeah. State College was right in it, and the Red Knights ended up winning the game. But they could play each other 3 times, and probably a 2-1 split. I mean, that'd be a great series to watch. But 2 teams to watch there: State College and Reading. Moving on to some other District 3 teams, Milton Hershey. They were undefeated coming into this week. But they get just like State College, but they are no longer undefeated. They lose to Middletown in a big way. 81-55, and then they lost again to Lower Dolphin 73-61. Kapp, what happened to Milton Hershey this week?
Okay, so the Milton Hershey team is the private Hershey team. There's 2 teams. Hershey is the
Hershey High School and Milton Hershey.
That's right. Yeah. Both out of the same area, obviously. Milton Hershey was undefeated. They went into Middletown, and Danye Baylor Carroll is their big scorer, and he could put up 30 a game sometimes. He had 10 points in the first
10 points of the game.
First 10 points of the game, first couple minutes of the game. Am I right? Is what I heard. And then a timeout was called by Sattel, which is the head coach of Middletown. He's the head coach of Middletown. Called the timeout and doubled him basically. It's not a triangle 2. It's a double on the one player. he didn't score another basket the rest of the game.
And that just kind of shows you what we were talking about Neshaminy earlier in the show, about how you can let players, you can let the best player on the other team score as many points as you want and shut down the rest of their team. Well, this time it was kind of flipped around opposite, where this, Danye Baylor-Carroll was basically on fire for the first 2-3 minutes, and then Sattel calls timeout, changes the game plan. The sports is all about adjusting.
And Sattel's a good coach. He's a very good coach. He's done things like this before, and it's worked. Adjustments early in the game. This we'll call him Baylor-Carroll, is quite an interesting guy. He's only 5'8".
Yeah.
About 155 pounds, and evidently just an electrifying player. Because he's been hard to stop. Now, this is the first time he's been stopped, but then the subsequent game...
Then he was stopped again against Lower Dolphins, where he got hot early again.
The same thing.
Yeah.
We have a Facebook comment from our own Michael Palmer Jr.
Mike
says, my Uncle Rob Gert won the first ever basketball championship for Milton Hershey back in 1984. Legendary stat.
Wow. Well, thank you for that, Mike Palmer. That's great. Mike Palmer, one of our great analysts on In the Trenches, our football show in the fall. That's interesting.
Milton Hershey not only founded the chocolate company, but he also donated enormous amounts of money, billions of dollars, to this school. And it's kind of like a Girard College situation. You've been to Girard College?
Yes, been to Girard College.
And it's quite impressive. The school. Yeah.
And that is Kapp's fact of the day, everybody. He's always good for one of those, right? Yeah, so Milton Hershey, we'll see if they can bounce back. Danye Baylor-Carroll, an electric scorer. Yeah. We'll see if he can bounce back as well.
But he can be shut down, as we see.
And he obviously, now have the blueprint for how to shut him down. So, we'll see how teams adjust the rest of the year. All right, moving on. Now we go out even more west here. District 7 out in the Pittsburgh area. Got to talk about Quaker Valley. They are still undefeated, I believe 17-0, if I'm not mistaken.
I have them somewhere.
I think we can double check that record, but
they're definitely undefeated.
Definitely undefeated. We know that. 55-46 win over Newcastle, who's a solid team out of District 7.
And Newcastle, as I always, whenever we talk about District 7 every show, I always note when Newcastle, back when they had the 4 classifications, they were going to the state. They went 32-0, I think, in 2014. And I wouldn't even say ran the table, because they were undefeated. They went all the way to the state championship and ended up winning over LaSalle College, beating Abington to get there. Newcastle had established themselves as a team to be reckoned with. Then they changed up the classifications a little bit, and I'm not, because we don't get to watch those kinds of teams a lot, so I'm not entirely sure what happened to them. But Newcastle, no matter what, is still a tough team to play. Yeah, it's a good program, and it's a good win for Quaker Valley for sure. And when they're in 4A, and we're going to get to District 12, but you guys have talked about Imhotep, and everybody knows Imhotep's one of the top 25 teams in the country. Quaker Valley could potentially meet Imhotep in the 4A state title game, and Quaker Valley could be undefeated. They could run the table
they very well
when they get to that point, potentially, and they're going to have to meet Imhotep, who's a pretty darn good team.
That would be a great game.
That would be a great game.
The rest of the schedule for Quaker Valley looks like it's against teams that they should win.
Yes.
So they may go undefeated. By the way, Newcastle is in the same section in the WPIAL, so it's the 4A Section 2 as Quaker Valley. Okay. So they're in 4A as well, Newcastle. But I
must note for Quaker Valley, Coltrane Washington scored a game high 24 points over Newcastle, and it says here that he is a Drexel recruit. So I recognized that name actually because of my connection with Drexel here in Philadelphia. But so it's a really nice way to tie in the western and eastern side of the state there,
and that makes us both very happy.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we're both Drexel people. When you said the name Coltrane Washington, I'm like, did he play football? Like, yep, I know he's a Drexel recruit.
It's a very musical
name. That's great. Yeah, so Quaker Valley having a great year, as is Mars. One of my favorite names,
And you do know their team name.
They're the Martians, right? Or the Spacemen?
The Planets.
The Planets, right, something like that. The Mars Planets. It's great.
It's the best. It's the best name in the state.
Well, Mars, they're number 4 in the 5A classification according to the City of Basketball Love, and they're up there. I think they're number 1 in District 7 in 4A. They lost to Taylor Alderdice, which is number 9 in the City of Basketball Love in 6A, and this is like the first time that they were in the rankings. So Alderdice is a team on the rise. That's a big win over Mars, who had won 6 games in a row. And Mars has a tough game coming up with Sewickley Academy, another really good team, a really good 2A team, small school team, who actually has a really good soccer program. But Mars, they lose to Alderdice, but they still look pretty strong in terms of, 5A. They should be able to compete with a lot of the other 5A teams across the state.
Now they're in the same section with Moon.
Yes.
And that's their rival, obviously.
Mars and
It
Moon.
seems like a joke, but it's actually
it's
they're very
true.
close to each other geographically, and those are the names of the teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see Mars ranked behind the teams of the likes of Bonner Prendy, Carroll, and Wood. And
Mars
those are
puts
real
out some good teams.
Yeah,
They do.
absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, it stinks that we don't get to see teams like that play. But we've talked about how
the travel.
600 plus different basketball teams out there.
Yes.
And Mars could emerge as one of the top teams in that.
There's 131 teams just in that league, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we determined?
We did.
It's gigantic.
Yeah, the WPIAA. Yeah, WPIAA is a phenomenal league all around in every sport. Mars is up there, and I'm pretty excited about that they get to play Sewickley coming up.
Yeah.
And Alderdice, that's a great win. That's a great win for Alderdice as well, who's now cracked into the picture in terms of 6A. So that's District 7.
Yep.
We wanted to touch on a couple teams in District 11. We don't get a chance to talk about District 11 all that much, but Bethlehem Catholic coming up with a really nice 62-56 win over Allentown Central Catholic. That was probably a matchup between the two best teams in District 11. You're talking about Allentown Central Catholic in 5A and Bethlehem Catholic in 4A. We just talked about Quaker Valley and Imhotep. Well, Bethlehem Catholic should be right in that 4A conversation in terms of a state title contender.
And these are two programs that have a nice history also.
Yes, they do.
You hear about them year after year after year because it's good fundamental basketball. I remember when I used to referee and I did one of their postseason games. It was Allentown Central Catholic, and I was so impressed with the precision basketball that was played there. So well coached. And it goes every year, the same teams you hear coming out of there, and it's always the same type of basketball. So it's good stuff going on.
Yeah, Bethlehem Catholic now 15-3, Allentown Central Catholic 17-3, and Josh, you can see really both of these teams making noise. I mean, Allentown Central Catholic in 5A, they have a lot more competition. Bethlehem Catholic, they're right up there. Imhotep, definitely the best team, but when you look at Quaker Valley too and Bethlehem Catholic, they're right there.
Yeah, and when we talk, Allentown Central Catholic they produced Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, so the guard for Michigan. Yeah. So they're notorious for bringing out products like that.
Yeah.
And Imhotep is a top 25 nationally ranked team, which I don't see many teams coming close to. But again, with how many teams there are, these teams haven't played each other, and when you're not familiar with each other and you don't play each other so much in the year, that's one of those areas where you really don't know what could happen. Yeah. And these Catholic school teams could easily put up a fight against teams like Imhotep and Quaker Valley.
When it comes to pure athleticism, I've seen Imhotep 3 times now. They're the most athletic team around. They're not the biggest team. No. They have a nice height all through to the lineup.
Consistent height.
Nice size and just great athletes.
Well, we know Imhotep just dominates the public league, but when we come back from our break, we're going to get into District 12, and we're going to start with the Philadelphia Public League and go right into the stacked Philadelphia Catholic League. That's next here on 3 in the Key. Welcome back here to 3 in the Key. I'm the CEO of SFBN, Ari Bluestein, sitting in for Richie Bleiweiss tonight. Of course, joined by Kapp and Josh Abrams. Great discussion going on so far. And remember, we've got a couple of comments so far, but remember to make a comment, pose a question, we'll discuss it. Our producers behind the scenes will let us know that you have submitted a question. So we're into our final PIAA district. We're going to get into some private schools as well. And of course, don't forget about Kapp's trivia question. We'll remind you of that one more time. Again, the trivia question tonight is, which Philadelphia high school basketball coach has the highest career winning percentage? Again, not most wins, winning percentage.
The most successful coach.
Most successful coach.
How about that?
There you go. That defines it right there. We will reveal that at the end of the show here on 3 in the Key. So, again, to see if you can answer that question. Go
Before
ahead.
we get started for PCL, speaking of which, Mike Palmer posted a comment before.
Okay.
The original one, he says, Archbishop Ryan beat Wood,
Yes, they
Prep,
did.
and Father Judge. We are AR. Obviously, Palmer's a Ryan alum.
Once a Raider, always a Raider, I guess, right, Mike Palmer?
Yep. And he also said, how about Bonner beating Newman Goretti? I don't know what's been more exciting on the SFBN, the 2017-18 sports year, football or basketball. That would be a debate for another show.
We're
Yes.
not done yet. Basketball's not done
Yeah,
yet.
basketball's not done. That's all great points. We're going to get into the PCL shortly. Yes, Bonner beat Newman Goretti. We're going to
getting
definitely
there. We're
discuss
getting
that.
there.
So
Yeah.
we're going to start with the Public League. And I know, Cap, you've been really following the Philadelphia Public League,
Yeah.
obviously with
Yeah.
your Imhotep comments. But another team that, you have to talk about is Sankofa. Sankofa Freedom Academy, right? That's the full name, I believe. Sankofa Freedom. Sankofa Freedom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They are currently top 5 in the City of Basketball Love single A. Now, they're going to have a tough team in Kennedy Catholic to deal with, which they already lost
Number
to
5
this
in
year.
the state,
Yeah,
right?
number
Yeah.
5 in the state in terms
the
of
state,
single A,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Top team in the pub in terms
Yeah.
of small schools in single A. But Sankofa and Lincoln, I know you went to that game. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it was a foul-prone game, a turnover-ridden game, 61 fouls in the game.
In 32 minutes of basketball?
Yeah, there was 29 in the first half and 32
So it was spread out.
in the second half.
Sounds like a college basketball game.
It was. They brought a third referee in because it was a battle for first place.
Mm-hmm.
So Sankofa was undefeated. Lincoln had been undefeated but lost the day before.
Right, and this is
a
Division
surprise.
B, correct? Division B in the pub.
So these are the top 2 teams in Division B, and it was supposed to be undefeated versus undefeated, and it ended up Lincoln had a loss. But Lincoln ended up winning this game.
Big
Pretty
game.
much, yeah. Well, on pure athleticism. Now Lincoln starts a 7-footer. We've talked about him a couple times.
Yes,
He is not he's not Naheem McLeod. He's not Bol, but he is very big. I mean, he's clearly over 7 feet tall, takes up some room, gets some rebounds, starts now and plays most of the first quarter and a little bit of the second quarter. Still hasn't scored hardly at all this season. So he's not going to be a factor in that sense, but he'll take up space and he'll get some rebounds and that type of thing. But he's not the star of that team. The star of that team are a lot of other guys who came together and beat Sankofa, pulled it out at the end in a very, very sloppy affair.
Right. Well, Lincoln is 6A in terms of the state classification, I believe.
Yeah, that's-
so
it is. No, it
they
is.
have they have a
6A.
lot of competition there in
That's
the
right.
city in 6A, and Sankofa had not as much competition in terms of District 12. But Sankofa had a busy week. They played 3 days in a row.
That's right.
And ended up beating ENS 60-27 2 days later. So
That's
you got to
right.
give them credit. They bounced back against a tough Lincoln team and then take care of
right.
business against ENS
And they
60-27.
lost, I think, to Council Rock South in between.
Okay, was that in the
So-
play-by-play classic or one of
Probably,
those?
yeah, I think so, I forget,
Obviously,
yeah.
a non-league game.
Yeah,
at
but I
this
mean,
point.
it's good that they're scheduling that type of thing. Their coaches, Isaiah Thomas. I know there's a lot of guys by that name. But that's his real name.
Not the one who played for the
Not-
Pistons, and not the
not
one
the
who's
one-
currently on the Cavs.
Correct.
We've got
But
another one.
By the way, I used to play against this Isaiah Thomas, or I saw him play in my gym, and he was really, really good.
Okay.
So they're all good ball players. I guess it's the name. I don't know. But Isaiah can coach also. He's also a political person. He's running for office in Philadelphia.
Oh,
But
good for him.
yeah. Candidate Isaiah, Candidate Thomas, he goes by. So anyway, Sankofa is a team that has to be reckoned with as we move along. Small school-wise, they obviously are not going to play against Lincoln again at a 6A level or Imhotep or anything like that.
Right.
Except I guess they can play in the playoffs.
Well, yeah,
Should
the
we explain
Philadelphia.
Public League
Yeah,
playoffs?
we'll explain that briefly. The Philadelphia Public League.
little
they,
tricky
they
sometimes, but-
play within the classifications, and then they have what's called like the Final Four, and now it's Final Six essentially, where the top 2 get a bye. So once you win your classification, then you play for the pub title. So we'll get to that. I'm sure you guys will get to that once you get to February.
That's what I thought, and I think the PIAA might have overruled that.
Oh, yeah?
In the last couple days.
Oh.
That's what I heard.
Breaking news.
It is breaking. It's like CNN out here.
Yeah. That is how it was done last year
You're right.
and in the past.
You're right, and
Yeah.
in the past. But from what I understand, the PIAA doesn't want it done. It's more of a last team standing type of thing in the classification,
Yeah.
and then they're going to have the classification city championship or district championship like they had in the past.
Okay.
And no pure public league champion versus pure PCL champion, which is what the public league wanted.
I see.
And then, again, this is breaking news, so we're not sure.
We're going to have to go to our contacts in the Catholic League and the Public League on that. Cap, I'm going to put you in charge of that.
It could be fake news.
Okay.
So
it's either breaking news or fake news.
Well, breaking news can be fake news these days. That's what that's the concern.
This is true.
So we have to. It can be skewed.
Ready? Let's bring it back right here to high school basketball.
All right, go ahead.
Great. Okay. So we talked about Sankofa, right? There's a few other teams that really deserve to be talked about in the Public League. One of them is Mastery Charter North. The Pumas, one of the best nicknames in the city, by the way.
Yeah,
so they beat Constitution. Now, Constitution is generally and usually one of the best teams and very well coached by Rob Moore. They are usually one of the best small school teams in the city, but they go down to Mastery North, and you got to give Mastery North a lot of credit for this win. This is a big win.
Yeah, and
the game at Mastery North? I'm sorry.
I am not 100% sure.
That I'm not either. But Constitution is one of the more traditional powerhouses at the 2A level.
Without question.
Yeah, and Constitution comes into schools. I remember last year, and I know there's obviously differences from year to year. They came into my alma mater, Pennsbury, and smoked them. I mean, and they're bound to do that on any given night against any team. So they've clearly proved to everyone over the years that they can play with any level type of team.
Yeah, and they were really at their height when they had Ahmad J.R. Gilbert and Kamar Williams, who are both now at my alma mater, Rider University.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Bronx. But
is that where Kamar is?
Yeah, they're both at Rider now.
Is he doing well?
No, they're transfers. They're coming in next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was really when they were at their height. So I think they kind of need to find that new crop to bring in. But they lose to Mastery North on the 23rd. Then on the 25th, they beat their big small school rival, Math, Civics, and Sciences. 79-67. Always such an intense atmosphere. I've been at a couple of those games, especially when they played down at the Berean Institute down there.
Berean Institute.
Yeah. Those games are super intense.
The fans like knock a wall.
I was not there for that game, no. But it gets nuts. This is a classic public league cage match. But Constitution gets the win.
Yeah.
But this is the type of rivalry where they play 3 times a year, and you never know what's going to happen the third time because they're probably going to play in the playoffs.
And they've been banging heads for years.
Yeah.
These two coaches, Danny Jackson's a coach at MCS. He's the only coach they've ever had. And the way I remember it is he was like a 19-year-old. And right, is that the story? He came out, he was still at Temple University and went down the block and said, "Oh, a new high school. Let me volunteer to be the coach." Something along those lines.
Yes.
That's the mythical legend anyway.
But still, that's
there.
Really, yeah.
And Rob Moore's one of the most intense coaches you could ever see. I mean, his head is exploding during the game. It's great to watch. He's very, very intense and gets a lot out of his players. So it's a good matchup.
Yeah, and Josh, you know about Constitution. I'm sure you've heard about MCS as well. And they are in the 2A, same classification, but they should be there at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they always hang in. They always hang in there, no matter what.
And MCS also one of the great nicknames in sports, the Mighty Elephants.
Mighty
Elephants.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorites.
Wow. All right. Let's get to the Philadelphia Catholic League because when you're looking at the state rankings, the Philadelphia Catholic League just fills all of the classifications for the most part, maybe except for single A. Father Judge, we're going to talk about Father Judge first. They started the week with getting their first league win, beating Lansdale Catholic. Now, Lansdale Catholic, not one of the stronger teams in the PCL, but for a team in Father Judge who had such a great year last year, I know they lost Mark Rodriguez, and they had such a lot to come back from, but they had a great year last year, and getting their first win, maybe this kind of gets them going a little bit.
Hard luck Father Judge Crusaders.
Yeah, you and I talked about week to week how they were the best 0-5 team in the area.
They're the best 0-5 team I've seen in a long time. I mean, they're good. They're not a pushover by any stretch.
No, they play everybody tough, and I think it's just playing in the Catholic League for so long. You get, your coaches get used to each other for a while, and Father Judge has always been able to hang in there. It's just being able to finish games and come out on top. That's just
and to play so hard and to come out with a 0-5 record.
Yeah,
it's got to be so hard on players and coaches because Sean Tate is a great coach.
He is a great coach. Yeah, Sean Tate does a real good job at Father Judge, and like I said, this is the kind of team that they can maybe gain some momentum. Now you got the first win, the monkeys off the back, maybe gain some momentum and get a spot in the PCL playoffs.
And
but
in this year, there's so much parity in the PCL.
So much. And we'll get to the next game now. On January 24th, Cardinal O'Hara pulls a mini upset over St. Joe's Prep, 54-42. I believe big man Ed Croswell did not play in that game for St. Joe's Prep. But Cardinal O'Hara, another team on the rise, a coach that came over from the public league, Jason Harrigan, who won a public league championship with Del Val Charter.
I remember interviewing him.
Now closed. But Jason Harrigan now at Cardinal O'Hara. He's got his team on the rise a little bit. They're right in the middle of the pack, but that's a nice win over a good, well-coached Speedy Morris St. Joe's Prep team.
Yeah, and kind of an upset in our opinion, don't you think?
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
it's a Catholic league, so that's one of the better conferences in the state.
Yeah,
and
arguably in the country. Arguably in the country.
We've said that. We've said that on here, and we both feel that way. And I agree with you.
And in this game, St. Joe's Prep only had 20 points in the second half. And I think, again, I'm pretty sure that Croswell was missing from this game.
He was injured.
They have other great players. I mean, they've got Kyle Thompson. They've got Darius Cannell. They have a lot of really good players. And I think the Prep is right. If we look at, they're in fourth place now. Yeah, it looks like they're in fourth place in the PCL. They're going to be there at the end. I think they'll bounce back.
They're 5-3.
Yeah.
They're 5-3.
Yeah, now 6-3. They won this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, they won this weekend. So 6-3 right there.
They're 14-4, 6-3.
Yeah, so they're definitely going to be there. But we had another upset as well. This was pretty surprising because Bonner Prendy had been undefeated going into this game, they lose to LaSalle. And I wrote about this game on SFBN, and we had a great photographer there capturing the moments. And LaSalle, that's a big win for them because they were in the middle of the pack, and they get a big win to maybe vault them up a little bit. But Bonner Prendy, unfortunately, they have their first league loss there.
And they knock off the team that has surprised everybody by being undefeated.
Yes.
Again, nobody knew this kid, Wong, that came in.
Yep, Isaiah Wong.
Notre Dame of
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yes.
Don't exactly know why he transferred. We never did find out why he transferred. It doesn't matter. He's there now, and he's a junior.
Yep.
So we're going to see him for another year. He is really, really athletic.
Yes.
I mean, he well over 40-inch vertical.
It's a pretty common feature between all of the athletes, especially in the Catholic and the public league. You talked about Imhotep being one of the most athletic teams you've ever seen.
It can't hurt.
No, obviously not. And that's something obviously you can't teach. You can't. It's very hard to defend against.
It's very hard to teach jumping.
Maybe a good loss for Bonner Prendy, considering there was only their first league loss.
Yeah,
it shouldn't really hurt them in terms of standings and seedings for the playoffs, because that final four spot where they get to play, I guess it's at the Palestra.
Yeah, they'll be at the Palestra Wednesday night. But of course, they'll have to win the quarterfinal to get there. But you're right that maybe it wasn't a bad loss. And I know that they were missing some guys. I know Isaiah Wong was playing with the flu that game. Ajiri Johnson, their stud center, going to Ryder. He didn't have a great game. He really got limited. Maybe a little look ahead to the weekend coming up, where Bonner Prendy knocked off the other remaining undefeated team, Newman Goretti, on Sunday, 73-70. I saw some highlights courtesy of Ace Carter of the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Yeah.
Ajiri Johnson, head and shoulders above the rim. Wong really looked good as well. And Newman Goretti had been undefeated. That is a huge program win, and it was rocking at the Bonner Gym in Drexel Hill. I saw the highlights.
I wanted to go so bad. I didn't feel good on Sunday. I was getting over an illness. And I had my bag packed and everything, and I couldn't get myself off the chair. So I really, as a game I had on my calendar, and I really wanted to go to that game, but just couldn't make it. So I followed the great Ace Carter on Twitter, I guess it is.
Yes.
Although it somehow transfers to Facebook.
Yeah, because you put it on Twitter and it shares to Facebook. We'll have to explain to Jack Kapp the aspects of social media.
I don't know the Twitter, but I see it on Facebook, and I see it says Twitter. And everything that happens, Ace puts down.
Yeah.
So you can watch it. It's almost like a play-by-play. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
I mean, he keeps
phenomenal.
Pretty amazing.
Ace Carter.
It is, but you can follow the whole game, and what a game it was. Back and forth. I mean, 73-70 game. Nobody's undefeated now.
They got double-digit points from 4 players, which was led by Isaiah Wong, and then Tariq Ingram had 16, and then they also got 13 points from Jerry Johnson, and Donovan Rodriguez also scored 10.
Yeah.
And, in a game like that, 2 top-ranked teams in the PCL, you need as balanced of a scoring attack, or even as balanced of a team effort as possible. And clearly, Bonner Prendy was able to do that.
Yeah, and Bonner, I think when we talked about the Catholic League at the beginning of the year, Bonner was the team we said, look out because they can make some noise. We didn't know
say that,
we didn't know
yeah.
how good they were going to be.
How much noise they were going to be able to make.
I don't think we thought
They
that they would
surprised
be.
everybody.
Yeah, I don't think that they would. We thought they would be this good. That
Yeah.
being at the top of the PCL, you thought it would still be Newman and Roman and Carroll.
Archbishop. I think
usual
when
suspects.
COBL
Yeah.
did the mid-season, I guess the mid-season report, they put at the bottom of each recap the preseason favorite and then the updated favorite.
Yeah.
Now it's gone from Archbishop Wood for the preseason favorite to, I think they might have put Newman Goretti or Bonner Prendy, one or the
Yeah.
other. Wood's starting to fall off a little bit, and this
Yeah.
is
very
the point.
surprising,
This is the point in time
Yeah.
where Bonner Prendy needs to shine and get over the hump and put themselves in the conversation, which I think is what they're going to do.
Yeah, let's get to Archbishop Wood now. That's our final game that we wanted to talk about here on the PCL. It was a game that you were at.
Yes.
You were actually healthy enough to go to the game.
Well,
Wood,
yeah.
You know, Wood at Newman Goretti, a rematch of the
was,
PCL championship from last year.
Yeah.
And Newman Goretti wins that game. And Archbishop Wood, like Josh just alluded to, they are not looking great. I mean, they still have big man Seth Pinckney. They still have Tyree Picaron. They still have Andrew Funk, but no Colin Gillespie. He's no longer there. He's at Villanova. It's a big loss, and I think we didn't realize how big of a loss that would be. Archbishop Wood is right in the middle of the pack right now.
Yeah, Archbishop Wood has taken some surprising losses. They did lose this game that we're speaking of to Newman Goretti.
And we have a comment from Bill Zeitz saying Roman survived LaSalle today. There's your little breaking.
Oh, okay,
news, breaking
great.
news.
Yeah, that game did happen earlier today. So
This is true breaking news.
Yeah.
Yes, there we
Well,
go.
so Roman survived LaSalle. So LaSalle can't come up with a loss.
So that means Roman, according to
they'll
the
be
standings,
6-2.
Yes. So Roman
will be
send-
6-2,
yeah.
tied with Carroll for third. LaSalle drops to 5-4, right in the middle of the pack, tied with Mike Palmer's Archbishop Ryan Raiders. So,
5-4, that's
but
right,
yeah,
yeah.
I just wanted to wrap up
Yep.
that Archbishop Wood conversation based
Right.
on what you saw. We know how good Newman Goretti is. I mean, they're going to be there at the end of the year. Carl Aragale does a phenomenal job. They've got great players. We mentioned Chris Ings already. Archbishop Wood, what is happening where they're losing these games against the top tier PCL teams where they were winning these games last year?
It's hard to say. They're not getting a lot of production out of Pinckney offensively.
Offensively.
Now, he's
He's a menace defensively. Yes.
a menace defensively, and he really gets up. I mean, he's there for the follows.
Yeah.
So if he has an opportunity for a follow, yeah.
Putback.
A putback, yeah. You know, a dunk and so on. But he's really not generating a lot of big man offense. So let's put it that way.
Right.
I'm not blaming it on him. It's just not part of his game. Really.
Yeah, but even
you know.
even last year, it wasn't part of his game, and they really relied on a lot of their guards. But you know, you're talking about a team in Archbishop Wood, well coached by John Moscow.
Yep.
You know,
Former
they're
assistant.
right, the former assistant to Carl Aragale and Evan Goretti.
Right.
They will be there. They're going to finish probably in the middle of the pack or a little bit below in terms of PCL. So they're going to have a tough quarterfinal game, unlike, you know, Newman Goretti and Bonner, which might get one of the lower end PCL teams. Although, I don't even know what I'm saying. This PCL is so
up in the
stacked
air.
this year.
Up in the
So
air.
stacked. When you look
Yeah.
down the list, even O'Hara, you can even go down further to West Catholic, who's not a bad team. Father Judge is going to be there in the bottom tier
close.
too. The PCL playoffs
So
is going to be
close.
something to watch, and I'm sure you guys are going to talk about it. during
Every
the show.
game will be a battle. Every game will be a battle, and it'll be fun to go watch it. Just to mention, we saw in that game the big men going at it. Littles,
Yes.
you know,
Littles and Pinckney.
Littles, who's
Yes.
actually a very big man.
Yes.
And I think he's actually picked up some poundage during the season. Even I mean, he is massive. He's massive. Now he's limited offensively too. He's got basically one, maybe two moves, which he employs, and he picks his spots and puts a shot up here or two.
Well, Newman Goretti always is very guard heavy. Aragale has his offense surrounded by the guards with the big. Even with Dada, even with Cosby Roundtree, he didn't really.
He was there, by the
he
way.
was there.
He was there at the game. But I was going to say the other big man that has been getting a lot of playing time is that freshman, Taquan Woodley, who sat out this game and will sit out the next game also.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see if he.
He's already sat out his 2 games.
I'm sure he will. He will definitely.
under the
play.
weather.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the flu bug.
A freshman.
So that wraps up our PIAA discussion. When we return here on 3 in the Key for our final segment, we are going to talk about Swamp Night.
Yeah.
What is that, you ask? Well, you're going to find out next here on 3 in the Key.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Welcome back to 3 in the Key. I'm Ari Bluestein, the CEO of SFBN, filling in for Richie Bleiweiss tonight. It's our final segment here on the show in terms of here on set. But again, we want to remind everybody, I know we have a guest or two at the trivia question, but one more time, the trivia question tonight. Yeah, Kapp's excited. Which coach in Philadelphia high school basketball history has the highest career winning percentage? Again, this is percentage, not career wins, winning percentage. I know we have a guest, Josh Abrams. Do you want to reveal the guess before we get into Swamp Night?
Yeah, sure. So Mike Palmer guesses Bernie Rogers.
That's the Archbishop Bryant head coach.
He might. Yeah, he was the Archbishop Bryant head coach. I don't really consider him being there long enough to even be considered in this.
There has to be some sort of qualification.
How long was he there?
That I don't know.
8 years?
I think Palmer might know better than us.
Palmer would know.
All right, Palmer, get back to us on that one. Meanwhile, the rest of you watching can submit your answers by putting in your Facebook comment. Now,
He was good.
One more guess is Carl Aragale.
Carl Aragale, that's a good guess as well. Very good guess. But not correct.
We're gonna go.
Not correct on either of them. Let's get into Swamp.
For just another hint, you got to go back further. Go back further. It's not a current coach or coach in the 2000s.
Think of someone who coached a very good player, a bunch of very good players.
Okay, there we go. There's all the hints that you get. Okay, so I alluded to Swamp Night, right? Now, SFBN, in addition to our great shows here on Facebook Live, we also broadcast games, and we had the opportunity to broadcast Swamp Night, which is hosted by the Shipley School, a girls-boys basketball doubleheader. It was a phenomenal night, and we want to show you a little bit of what Swamp Night was all about. Also, some exclusive interviews. Take a look at this.
Ball in the air in the opening. Being guarded one-on-one by KJ Rhodes. Able to regather it is Rhodes. Now left corner. A three is good. Here's Chandler Brooks. What a move to the rim. Noel the rebound. 5 seconds remains here in the half, but it's stolen by Hughes. And he lays it in.
Good play by Hughes to walk in there.
It's the Sobelman left corner. And back to Sessoms. Behind the back. Step back shot. Kobe. Or check it, that's Krzyzewski. Pops a shot, no good. And the rebound control, Guadarrama throws it up at the end of it. Here's a three, and good. Sessoms steps back, fade away.
And I am with head coach for Perkiomen School basketball, Thomas Baudenet. Coach, you guys got off to a pretty hot start in the beginning. What was it that you were emphasizing to your players?
Really just trying to push the pace and push the tempo on offense. We didn't think they were going to be able to match up with us getting back in transition if we flew the ball up the floor and attacked the rim. We definitely had a size advantage as well. So we knew that if we got in the paint, good things would happen, either finishing at the rim or kicking out for threes. And I thought offensively in the first half, we did a really good job.
You guys had a big three in the third quarter, right as Shipley was cutting into your lead. What did you say to your guys in the timeouts from time to time as they were starting to cut back into that big lead you had?
It depended on the timeout. One of them, for sure, I thought was a lack of defensive intensity to start the fourth quarter, allowed them to get back into the game. It allowed them to get comfortable and feel like they had a chance when they cut it from 22 to 16. I didn't think that group came out with the energy and intensity that they needed. Some of the other times we were just drawing something up to try and get a bucket to make sure we scored. Didn't always work, unfortunately, but really kind of just stay calm and keep our poise and make sure that we're locked in and focused on every possession.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
And I am with Shipley School star Sam Sessoms. Sam, tough loss tonight, but you had a good night offensively. What was your mindset as you got down further and further to bring your team back?
I mean, we're known for a team to be playing from behind, sadly, but my coach always tells me whenever the lead stretches out farther and farther, it just, me personally, I feel like I got to bring the team back, and that's what I tried to do, but it just wasn't enough tonight.
Obviously, basketball is such a team sport that everyone needs to be involved to win. Without Ray tonight, you guys seem to lack a little bit of height there. As you guys go down the line or down the road, what do you guys think you need to improve on most in order to win games like this where you're falling behind?
I mean, we just need to improve on, me personally, I think it's our defense. We like Perkiomen's a great defensive team. They usually hold teams to under 50 points. We score about 70 something. So it shows we're already a good offensive team. So with us, and we have a young core, young group of kids, we need to just work on our defense. And as far as like everyone else contributing, because I know it seems like I take on the majority of the scoring load, that just comes with time and progress because I'm surrounded by a bunch of young wings and they're just not fully developed. But when they get fully developed, like we'll be a tough team to beat.
All right, thank you, Sam. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a good one, all right?
Thank you.
That was pretty awesome to watch.
was,
And Sam
yeah.
Sessoms, by the way, as pointed out by Bill Zeitz on Facebook, double nickels, which
Double nickels,
is a cool
yeah.
way of saying 55 points for Sam Sessoms.
Most you've ever seen in a game?
Absolutely.
I've never seen a high school player score 55, and he drained the swamp that night.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Snaps for Kapp.
That's right, he did.
By the way,
He
so
drained the swamp.
Sessoms had 55, and before that in the girls' game, Shipley dominated the Petty School. Anna Camden, who is a high-level Division I recruit,
Yeah, I
6'2",
watched
small
it.
forward, she had her 1,000th career point.
It took her for a while to get it to.
Yeah.
In the second half, she needed 1
But
point.
isn't she a junior?
She is.
She's a junior.
That's career points.
Every player on
No, but it's just-
that team is either a junior or a freshman.
It was
Yeah.
just tough. I kept watching, and she kept shooting, and she couldn't get the point. She finally got it.
She got it at the free throw line, which was really nice, right? And then that was like the
and it
best.
was a nice
yeah.
celebration with her family and
Yeah.
everything.
Well, so Swamp Night
Yeah.
again was great, and we want to thank the Shipley
Swamp
School
Night,
for
yeah.
having us out. I guess we're going to get to our trivia question answer. Finally, as we built it up, we've had quite a few guests come in. Again, the question was, which high school basketball coach in the city of Philadelphia has the highest career winning percentage, not wins? We've had a few guesses.
Yeah.
I think we've had Bernie Rogers, right? We had
Carl
Argale. What were some of the more recent guesses? We had Mark Heimerdinger from Gardner Doherty, which
By
is
the
a
way,
good guess
that's his
as well.
real name, Heimerdinger.
Heimerdinger, yes.
Yes.
And then what was the other one?
Dennis Seddon.
Dennis Seddon.
Seddon was the longtime coach of Roman Catholic. He followed Speedy Morris.
Okay.
So the other night, he came
Right.
to the New McGrady game.
So we have those guesses, but according to Jack Kapp, those are all incorrect.
I believe I have the correct stat.
And everybody was going with the wrong Philadelphia League. You had to go to the Public League.
Public League.
And the answer is Joey Goldenberg of the West Philly Speed Boys with a career record of 410 wins and 84 losses. He coached from 1969 to 1990, over an 83% winning percentage. So, according to
That's
you,
tough to beat.
that's the correct answer.
Who remembers Joey Goldenberg? Oh, okay, I do.
Now, I know of the West Philly Speed Boys teams
Still
with
around, by the
Gene
way.
Banks, and you're talking
Yes.
about a team that won 68 games in a row
And we're
over
number
a
one in the
3-year
nation.
span, and number one in the nation.
And Gene Banks was, talk about great players. You see Lonnie Walker, you see Rasheed Wallace, you see all these guys. Believe me, Gene Banks was right up there. You know, nobody saw Will Chamberlain play in high school, but Banks was right up there with Kobe Bryant and so on.
So thank you very much for everyone who tried to guess, and we had a lot of really good guesses there, but had to go with the Public League and the West Philly Speed Boys. So this has been a lot of fun. I mean, I've been into high school basketball, and I've been watching the show, but I've been watching you guys and Richie, and this was great. Thank you guys so much for the show today.
Always fun.
And thank you so much for everybody for tuning in to 3 in the Key tonight. A couple of reminders for you before we go. Again, make sure you comment on the show. We've gotten some good comments, some good feedback today. That was great. Thank you to everyone who contributed. Make sure you comment. But we have a lot of great content here on SFBN, right here on Facebook Live. Of course, 3 in the Key here every Monday night. We've got On the Mat with Mark Tribble and Brett Fetty. That's Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. That's our New Jersey wrestling show, all New Jersey wrestling show. Varsity Voice with Frankie Stokes, Wednesday at 7 p.m., where Frankie talks to coaches and players and administrators from all over the state of PA in the high school sports world. And then in the paint, our high school girls basketball show hosted by Nikki Jones with Joe Fight and Archbishop Wood coach Mike McDonald. That's Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. So make sure you check all that out. Again, be sure to like, share, and post everything that we have on Facebook. We want to grow our fan base, grow our likes here on Facebook, and also on YouTube as well. 3 in the Key will be posted on YouTube as well on our YouTube channel. And again, this crew next to me, which you can't see, there they are.
There we are.
Jack Kapp and Josh Abrams will be here with Richie Bleiweiss right here in this seat every Monday night. And again, if you can't watch and you're in the car or you're at work and you want to put some earbuds in, go on the iTunes store, download our latest podcast, and we have put all of our shows on podcast, including our shows in the Rhode Island area. So if you want to check out some Rhode Island sports, go for it. But again, search for the Sports Fan Base Network. And if you listen, be sure to give us that 5-star rating so iTunes keeps us around. That's a good thing. So in the meantime, make sure you go to thesfbn.com. Great content. In addition to our shows, we have articles, we have our broadcast schedule. Make sure you check that out. So for Jack Kapp and Josh Abrams, and for Richie Bleiweiss, who I'm filling in for, I'm Ari Bluestein, reminding you to stay classy and be good to each other. Have a good night.